Hello everyone. In this lecture video, I will demonstrate how to construct a simple relational database using MS Access. So this is the case we're gonna do using Foothill construction. So we're gonna develop the database for this company. Now this is a construction company which is based in Denver, and recently their business has been growing, and because of which they want to develop a database and store all their information in the database. So basically, it charges the clients by billing the hours spent on each contract. So you have basically, they are a project based company, they work on the project. So you have project name, assign date, employee last name, employee first name, job description, assign hours, and charge per hour. So basically, they have different job types. So you have electricians, plumbers, heating and ventilation guys, and structural engineer guys. So their rate per hour is fixed. So if it is heating and ventilation, they are paid at the rate of $84.50 per hour. If they are electricians, they are paid at the rate of $105 per hour. If they are plumbers, they are paid at the rate of $96.75, henceforth. So one thing you will notice here is the relationship. I'm going to explain that here. Basically, there are four entities involved in this report: project, employee, job, and assign. And I'm going to explain that going forward, and I'm going to explain this business rules as well. So I'm going to explain this here with the report in front of me. So I can say that one project can have many employees working uh, under under it. Okay, let's say Chartfield has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 employees working under it. At the same time, one employee can work on many projects. So for example, we have John Newman working here on Evergreen, John Newman working here on Chatfield at different times, or they might be working simultaneously, but here it looks like a different uh, time frame. But the logic here is one project can have many employees working under it, and one employee can work on many projects over the period of time. So this is called many to many relationship. So we're going to see how to map that many to many relationship using a third linking table, which is the assign table. Another relationship you'll see is between job and employee. So one job category or one job type will have many employees. So we have David Sullivan as electrician, we have John Newman as electrician as well. So one job type can have many employees, but each employee will have exactly one job type. So if David Sullivan is electrician, he cannot do the plumbing job, he'll only do the electrical related work, and their charge for hours are given here. And for this project, they have worked for so many hours. Okay, so we had to sort of create the same report here, and this shows us total hours they have worked for the project, and this is the total charge that includes hours worked times the charge per hour, and then sum it up. So this is what we had to do. So our task here is to develop the database, normalize the tables, develop the ER diagrams, and construct the query and construct a report like this. Okay, so we're gonna get going. We have been given 4 tables for those 4 entities here. So I'm gonna briefly open them to show you. We have assign table. So assign table has assigned numbers, assign number, assign date, project number, employee number, assign hours. Okay, these are the field you have been given. Okay, likewise, if you open employee table, that's a CSV file, a comma separated file. It has employee number, employee last name, employee first name, and job code. And then we have 2 text file. Job has job code, job description, job charge per hour, and project has project number and project name. So we're going to develop 4 tables to store the information into the database, and then we're gonna link them using primary key and foreign key relationship. Okay, so let's get going there. So there are many ways you can do that. I want to create a new database here, so I'm gonna right click here, say new here. I'm gonna say MS Access database here, and I'm gonna say this is Foothills Construction. I'm gonna open this one. So I'm gonna see, do you want to make this? Yes. So here, what we're gonna do here is, this is the typical layout of MS Access. We can develop the tables. A table is a basic unit in any database. So if you have a database, you must have at least one table, but usually you have more than one table. If you just need one table to store all the information, probably you can just do that in MS Excel. But MS Access, you can usually develop many tables and interlink them. So we're going to develop 4 tables here. We're going to start with the very basic table that has minimum number of fields, which is the project table. So I'm going to go here, create table in design view. I'm going to say here project number. I'm going to leave it data type. It tells me like what kind of data are we storing here in this field. So we're going to store the text. All the project number is a number, but usually we define it as text because we're not going to perform any calculation on this one. So that's a project number, and then project name. Also short text, and the limit is 255 characters. We're going to leave it like that. And I'm going to define project number as primary key. Now, what is a primary key? Primary key will uniquely identify each record in the table. So you have unique project number for every project that you have in the table. So that's the purpose of primary key. Okay. So again, primary key uniquely identifies each record in the table, very much like our social security number or driver's license number. Okay, they are unique to every person. If I know your social security number, I know everything about you. So if I know the project number, I know what project we are working on and every other detail. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to just name it as project. Say okay here. I will close this one. I'm going to create another table in the design view. I'm going to say job code short text job description short text and job charge per hour. Now this is going to be a number, and charge per hour has decimal points in them. So we're gonna say here double. Okay, so double can store the decimal points here. Okay, so that's the thing here. I'm gonna define job code as a primary key. Again, job code could, even though it's a number, we're not gonna perform any calculation on it. So I'm gonna define it as a short text, and it is a primary key. So it will uniquely identify each record in the table. Okay, so I'm gonna save this as job. Now these tables are blank. So if you click on the view, there is nothing in them, but we're gonna load the information in the table going forward. So I'm going to close this one here. I will create another table. This time I'm gonna create the employee table. So I'm gonna say employee number short text. Again, I'm not gonna perform any calculation on it. So I'm gonna leave it short text. So employee last name short text, employee first name short text, and then job code short text. So if you remember, job code was there in the job table as well, right? If I open that table, job code is there in the job table. and we are using job code here. So basically what we are doing here is we are linking these two tables. I'm gonna save this one and call it. Okay, we have to define the primary key. So employee number is the, go to the design here and say primary key is a primary key. I'm gonna save it as an employee. So employee table and job table will be linked via job code field, which is common in both the table. Okay, so basically we are saying that one job can have many employees. Okay, but each employee will belong to only one job type. So that's why job code, which is a primary key of the job table, is appearing as a foreign key in the employee table. So foreign key is the primary key of one table that appears in another table for the purpose of creating and establishing a relationship. Okay, that's something you have to keep in mind here. I will create another table. So we have assign number, short text here again, assign date. So this is going to be a long, I would rather go with the date and time. And in the format, we're going to say I want to have a long date. So that's a format we have to use as shown in the report. So we have assigned date there, and then we have project number, short text here, and hours. Assign hours going to be a number, and it's going to be double because there are decimal points. So I'm getting all the information from this files here that I earlier opened. So for example, this assign table, if I open this one, it has all this field names which I'm using to create tables. Okay, that's all I'm doing right now. Okay, so assign number is a primary key, and this project number here is a primary key in the project table, which is appearing here as a foreign key. So, and the employee number is a primary key in the employee table, appearing here as a foreign key. So these two keys gonna be linked to create relationship between employee, assign, and project table. So I'm gonna save this as assign. Okay, so we have all the four tables available here. I'm gonna close all of them, and I'll go ahead and create the relationship between the table. So database tools relationship, I'm gonna add say project, assign, employee, job in that order. Okay, now I'm gonna drag this project number, which is a primary key in the project table, onto the project number in the assign table. I'm gonna say enforce referential integrity. Okay, now what it does is it's basically telling me that one project has this infinity symbol, means many assignments, but each assignment will belong to exactly one project. Likewise, one employee can have many assignments, but each assignment will belong to exactly one employee. So basically, this is how you map many to many relationship between project and employee. One project can have many employees, one employee can work on many projects. We cannot store that information in one or two tables. We have to have a linking table that links the two tables using their primary key as a foreign key here. Okay, job code, one job type can have many employees, each employee can only have one job type, so that's kind of one to many relationship, and they can be stored in only two tables. We don't need the third table. So here job code, which is a primary key in the job table, is appearing as a foreign key in the employee table. Now what is this enforced referential integrity means? It means that if there is no job type, I cannot enter an employee in the table for that job type. Okay, so I had to have job type first or job description first before I can have an employee in them. Likewise here, I cannot have an assignment if I do not have a project, so I had to have a project to have an assignment. So that's something you have to keep in mind when you enter enforce referential integrity. It's going to give error if you try to put in new assignment without assigning the project or the employee, or putting in new employee without assigning it to a particular job code. That's the purpose of enforcing referential integrity. So this is what you call a relationship diagram, entity relationship diagram. We have four entities and we have established one-to-many relationship between them. We have broken down many-to-many relationship between project and employee and created two one-to-many relationship here. So you can only store one-to-many relationship in database. You cannot store many-to-many. Keep that in mind. Okay. So we have normalized our tables and we have created the ER diagram. Now the next thing to do is, go ahead and create the query that will map all the information in mentioned in the report. So we're gonna create a query that will fetch all this data from all the four tables, and based on that we'll create a report very much looking like this. So I will close this one here. I'm gonna say yes, go ahead and save it. So it's saved internally, it's not visible here. I'm gonna go ahead and create a query using the design view. I'm gonna say I need all the tables: project, assign, employee, job. Okay. So if you see the report, the first thing is the project name, and then the assign date, last name, first name. So we have assign date, last name, first name, then we have job description, then we have assign hours here, double click on it, and job charge per hour, double click on it. Okay, so this is how you select the field. You can drag the fields as well. You can select it from here as well. Okay, like here you can select whatever field you want. So we have done that. I'm gonna run the query here. It's not fetching anything, and the reason it's not fetching is our database or tables are empty. We do not have any records in the table, so I have to put in or load the information in this table. So I'm going to save this query. I'm going to need this one, qr query project details. Okay, so it creates a new category here, queries, and that's our query. It's not going to fetch any data because our tables are empty. Let's go ahead and load the information. I'm going to start with the project table. I'm going to right click here and import because we have the data in the text file. Okay, so I'm going to say text file. I'll go to browse here, go to that particular folder where I have the data. Let's say this is project, so I'm going to click on the project here. I do not want to create a new table. I already have a table, so I'll append to the existing table. I'm going to say project here, say okay here. It's going to import the data. I'll say next here. First row contains the field names. Now these field names in the file and the database must match, otherwise it will not do the import. Okay, so again these names here in our Excel file or text file must match whatever name you have given in your assigned table. Okay, or any other table. So here I have these two names in my project table, matching names. I'm going to say next year, and I'm going to finish here. So it has imported the data. If I double click on the project, you'll see I have all the data here. Likewise, job, I'm going to right click here. I will say import text file, append. Say I'm going to browse it and say job here. Append it to the job. Now you have to make sure why am I doing in a particular order. The project table and the job table, they are kind of parent table. They do not have any foreign keys in them. So that's the reason I'm importing data in them first. If you have any table with the foreign key, you should import data in that table as late as possible. Okay, because we need the primary key, foreign key relationship data. So before you can use any primary key as a foreign key, you have to make sure you have values for that primary key in that table. Now say okay here, say next here, first row contains the field name. I have the matching field names in my table. So next here, finish. So this is also done. Job has the data in it. Now I cannot do the assign because my employee table is empty, and we know that I'm using employee number as a foreign key in my assign table. So before I load my data into the assign, I have to do that in the employee. Okay, I'm gonna say employee here. Okay, I'm gonna close this one here. Right click here, import. Now employee is a text file, CSV file. Okay, so I'm gonna say text file here, which is a CSV file, and I'm gonna say employee. Okay, shows the Excel symbol here, but it's a comma separated file. Okay, you can see it here as well, comma separated values file. Okay, CSV file. Say here, assign it to the employee table, append it to the employee table. Okay, here, next, fix first column, next, finish. So our employee table also have the data now, right? The last table that's remaining is assign. Right click here, import from the Excel file because that data is there in the Excel file. Double click on assign table in that folder, append a copy of record to the table here, assign table, say okay here, next, assign, finish. Okay, subscript out of range. Okay, let's see what's going on. So I'm going to open this one. So you have assign number, assign date, project number, employee number, and assign hours. Long date. Assign hours is a double. Looks good to me. So maybe this file is open. That could be the reason. I'm going to close this one here. I'll retry importing. Assign table. Okay. Subscript out of range. Okay. Finish this one. So let me go to the database tools relationship, and let's say I'm going to delete this relationship. I'm going to select this one and hit the delete here. Maybe that's the reason it's creating problem, but I don't know. I'm going to right click here and say import again. Okay, what is out of range? Okay, the best way I can do here is, double click here, assign number. Okay, let me see. So you have assign number, right? I'm just gonna match the name, assign date, project number, EMP number, assign hours. They're matching perfectly. That is interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this table. I'm gonna recreate it. Okay, create table in design view, say assign number short text, assign date. I'm gonna say this is date and time. I want to say this is a long date format. Okay, and then project number, then we have employee number, then we have hours. Okay, and this is a number, and I'm gonna say this is a double. Okay, and this is a primary key here. Okay, let's see this as assign. I'm gonna right click here, say import Excel assign. Okay, subscript out of range. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go to the Google. Okay, something here. Yeah, it's working fine earlier. So I'm just gonna make sure the data types here. This is general, cancel. What about this one? Format cell. Okay, this is the custom date, day, cancel. Format project cell, general. Okay. What is going on here? Save, don't save. Okay, guys, I will figure this one out and record the rest of the lecture later. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the lecture video here. Thank you very much for listening.